There is a dimly lit village as the sun sets where shadows stretch long across cobblestone streets, where lanterns begin to flicker to life. A small gathering around a fire in the village square where villagers go about their evening. A monk, dressed in simple robes, sits cross-legged before a group of villagers. His face is calm, weathered with wisdom, as he lights a lantern and places it before him. In soft but firm voice, addressing the group, he asks, "Have you ever noticed how the brighter the light, the darker the shadow?" The villagers exchange glances. Among them are three main characters: Kai, a young painter afraid of failure; Lian, a blacksmith questioning her path; and Ren, a farmer burdened by guilt over a failed harvest. Kai, hesitant with a slight frown, asks, "What does that mean?" "Are shadows bad? They only get in the way." Smiling gently, Monk replies, "Shadows are not bad. They are simply there. Without shadows, the light would have no form, no depth. Let me tell you a story. Long ago, there was a sculptor named Liang who lived in a bustling city. His sculptures were so lifelike that people believed he could breathe life into stone. But Liang had a secret. He never worked at night. He feared the shadows his lantern cast on his work. He said they distorted his vision and ruined his perfection. One day, a wandering philosopher visited Liang's workshop. He noticed the sculptures and asked, "Why do you stop working at night?" Liang explained his fear of shadows. The philosopher laughed and replied, "Do you not see? The shadows are your greatest teachers." Confused, Liang asked what he meant. The philosopher said, "The shadows reveal what the light alone cannot. They show you flaws, depth, and beauty you might otherwise miss. To fear them is to deny half of what makes your art complete." The monk pauses. The flickering firelight creates dancing shadows across his face, mirroring the tale. Furrowing her brow, Lian asked, "But what if the shadows are too overwhelming? What if they hide the path altogether?" "That is a fair question, Lian." Monk nods. "Shadows can be daunting, but they only have as much power as you give them. A shadow is not a wall, it is a veil. Move closer to the light, and the shadow shrinks. But step away, and it grows." The monk picks up the lantern, slowly moving it closer to the ground, making the shadows shorter and softer. The villagers watch in awe. Ren, with heavy voice and guilt, says, "I understand what you're saying, but some shadows don't just distort. They consume. How do you move past the ones born from failure?" Monk looks at Ren with compassion. "Failure is but a shadow of fear, Ren. The light is your perseverance. Did you know the strongest trees grow in the harshest winds? Every failure you face carves you, just as shadows carve depth into the light. Do not run from them. Embrace them," he says. The monk guides the group through a series of simple exercises over the next few days. Kai is asked to paint only in candlelight, learning to use the shadows as part of his art rather than avoiding them. Lian works late into the night in her forge, crafting a blade while the monk encourages her to see how the interplay of light and shadow reveals imperfections in the metal. Ren tends to his fields, guided to reflect on his actions, forgiving himself for past mistakes as he watches the shifting shadows of the day. The monk's teachings intertwine with their efforts. His words echo. Light without shadow is flat, lifeless. Shadows without light are blind. Together, they form a whole. One evening, the villagers gather again. This time, Kai reveals a painting of the monk's lantern, its light casting intricate shadows that form an image of a phoenix rising from ashes. Lian presents her newly forged blade, strong and flawless, reflecting both light and shadow. Ren shares his vision of the future harvest, planting seeds with renewed hope. The monk looks at each of them, pride glimmering in his eyes. "Your doubts are your shadows, your dreams the light. Embrace them both, and you will find your way." Your life is a masterpiece of light and shadow. Begin your journey today.